Hi, my name's David Sandridge, and this is my webcam post for week 8. This week, I thought for the webcam portion, I would respond to Daisy's presentation on Babylon by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and then I would address Professor Barr's questions on the writings that I type out. So, first of all, Daisy, your presentation was really good. I liked how you incorporated the music into some of the slides. I never really thought of that. That's a good idea. The first question that she asked us to consider was titled Memory in the Past, and it was, why did Charlie reform his life? What were his motivations? Is Charlie's character driven by guilt from the past or by hope for the future? When do we end atoning for our past? So, I think the reason Charlie decided to reform his life was very obvious. He realized that he couldn't sustain the alcoholic party animal lifestyle he was living. But the biggest factor was most definitely his daughter, who I'm going to try to pronounce her name. I'm going to mess it up. It's Honoria. And he really wanted to reclaim her and get things going with his new life with her. And he always, it seemed like he just always wanted to bring up the fact that he was financially stable, which was kind of weird to me. It seemed like that was the only way he knew how to prove that he could be a good father to her. Is Charlie driven by guilt or hope? I think that he's driven by a little bit of both. Hope that he can have his daughter, but guilt that he let a perfectly good love die for no reason with his dead wife, ex-wife. And when are we finished atoning? In Charlie's case, um, as soon as he gets his daughter back, I guess he's done atoning. I mean, it's pretty crummy that his wife died of heart trouble, but even though they split up, it's not his fault as much as his sister-in-law would like him to believe. It's really no one's fault. People just get sick. And then the next question was titled Visions of America. Babylon Revisited suggests that the greatest losses in the crash of 1929 were not financial. What different kinds of wealth do we see in the story, and how does Charlie's downfall parallel the financial crisis going on in the world at the time? Do you see any similarities between the crash of 1929 and the actual financial crisis? I think that the greatest losses in the crash of 1929 weren't financial because, like the book suggests, obviously, but it would have to be the moral debt left behind. They were all partying. Adultery was more common, which was really frowned upon back then. And everyone was just partying out of control. And when the money dried up, the party ended, and they all had time to reflect on what they had done. And they weren't very happy on what they were looking at. And it was pretty much the same thing with Charlie. He was partying and drinking a lot in Paris, and when the crash came and the money dried up, he realized he didn't have anything left, and that something needed to change if he wanted to continue to live a life other than past memories like his friends, who spoke of stories that now disgusted him that he had moved on. The next topic question is, if Charlie is reformed, why does he insist on dragging himself through Paris and revisiting his old haunts? He claims that he wants to see Paris with new eyes, but isn't he tempting himself with his old life? Is an ex-alcoholic or recovering addict ever free of temptation? Um, I think that Charlie, like he told Marion and Lincoln, that he has one drink a day to remind himself of what he's staying away from. It's kind of a weird outlook to me, but if it works for him, it works for him. And at the time, he'd been sober for, I think, a year and a half. So why question his method? That wasn't very cool of Marion or Lincoln. And I think he was dragging himself through Paris and revisiting his old haunts, like I said, to see what he wasn't missing out on, to see that his change was for the better and that he didn't have anything to miss. Like when his friend, I think her name was Lorraine, was telling him stories of their past. She was just bringing up old times. He almost resented the stories, and he was disgusted, and he wanted to change the topic and get out of there. Is an ex-alcoholic or addict ever free of temptation? No, probably not. He remembers that he was addicted, and I don't think he'll ever be free of that. But rewinding back to point one on this topic, he drinks one drink a day to remind himself of what he's staying away from. So as long as he keeps doing what he's doing, I think he'll be all right. This was my discussion board post for week 8. Thank you for watching. And once again, Daisy, great work. I really liked your presentation.